as a people and as a nation, it is apt that we know how we can right the wrongs of the past, bring a closure to some events of the past and some wrongs of the past, and then move forward into the envisaged glorious future. It was Harold Robbins who wrote some of the novels which I read while growing up, The Dream Merchants, The Inheritors, and The Carpetbaggers. Our founding fathers, Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, S.L. Akintola, Michael Okpara, Dennis Osadebe, and a few others, you can call them the dream merchants of this country. What became of their dream? What derailed their vision? And what did the inheritors do with that dream and that noble vision? How well did they execute the dreams of the founding fathers? And who were the carpetbaggers who killed the dream and swept it under the carpet? How can we dream new dreams of greatness as dreamed by the likes of Obafemi Awolowo to make Nigeria Africa's leading light? What is the barrier or hindrance towards going back into history, into creating that glorious era when the whole world looked unto Nigeria for leadership? At that time, even the American government was keen on hosting the Prime Minister of Nigeria. And on the 25th of July 1961, the Prime Minister of Nigeria, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, visited the United States at the invitation of President J.F. Kennedy. Let's look at that video clip. If you are on radio, you hear it as it was run live, and the commentary was given live so that you understand what is going on. Those glorious days when the whole world looked towards Nigeria.
America is waiting for the arrival in Washington of the Prime Minister of the Federation of Nigeria, Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Prime Minister Balewa is making an official visit to America at the invitation of the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. Waiting at the airport to greet him are Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, Secretary of State Dean Rusk, Mr. Joseph Palmer, the American Ambassador to Nigeria, and other high-ranking American officials. Accompanying the Prime Minister is Minister of Foreign Affairs Nwachukwu, Ambassador Udochi, and Minister Shagari and Benson, and other key members of the Nigerian government.
Mr. Prime Minister, I am honored to welcome you and the distinguished members of your party to the United States. This welcome is only the beginning. You will find as you travel through this country a very deep and genuine interest in the exciting developments which are taking place in your country and in Africa today.
I am very pleased to be with you in Washington today, and I look forward to the week which we are to spend among you. I have no doubt that the American people will receive us with all the kindness that they all receive strangers. This is just a brief reply to your very warm address of welcome. Thank you.
many friendly Americans are waiting to welcome Sir Abubakar to his home in Washington. During his stay in the American capital, the distinguished visitor will reside at the Blair House, the special residence for guests of the American president. Just across the street from the Blair House is the White House, where President Kennedy awaits Prime Minister Balewa. The two leaders are meeting to discuss matters of mutual and international interest. In a joint communique summarizing the outcome of their deliberations, they reaffirm their support for the principle of self-determination for dependent peoples and their unalterable opposition to racial discrimination under any name or in any guise. President Kennedy expressed his pleasure at the success of the Monrovia Conference and congratulated the Prime Minister on his constructive contribution. The two leaders affirmed their confidence that their exchange of views had strengthened the bonds of friendship between their two countries.
Those were the glorious years when the whole world, when the most powerful nation in the world, the United States of America, sent its aircraft to come and pick our own Prime Minister to Washington. Viewing that clip all over and over, I had goose pimples saying that how did we get here as a people and as a nation? The Vice President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson, was there at the airport to receive Sir Tafawa Balewa as he came down the aisle onto the soil of the United States of America. And now what has happened? That glorious past, what has become of us as a people and as a nation. Today, when our leaders go abroad, they are received by either the first or the second secretaries, not even the Secretary of State. Now we've been relegated to the background. When shall Nigeria rise again? When shall we again have that glorious past that we've dreamt of now that we hold those glorious days of Obafemi Awolowo, of Ahmadu Bello, of Michael Opara? When can we have those glorious years again? When the states, when the regions took their own affairs in their own hands and piloted their own affairs and ran the states, the regions, as good entities. But now, the question is, when shall Bola Tinubu start taking the first steps in restructuring this country? Why is he hesitant in taking that first step in restructuring? Is it the fear of the unknown, or not wanting to jeopardize his rumored second-term ambition? When will the journey begin? When will the first steps be taken? For how long should we wait and hope that something will be done to correct this falling house? Very soon, it shall be 730 days that Bola Tinubu was sworn in as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What step has he taken to inspire confidence or give an inkling that he is intent on taking Nigeria back to where it was in those glorious days? What are the steps he's taking towards restructuring this country? And so our focus on Insight this morning is looking back into the future. Yesterday is gone. What lessons did we learn from yesterday? And how can we use those lessons for the future that we are dreaming of? Looking back into the future. And
thank you so much, Femi. Let me welcome our panel of discussants. We've got the King Olabiola Dejoye. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. And Mr. Lalu Abubuluko is here. Good morning, Mr. Lalu. Thank you so much. Let me start with you. Looking back into the future, watching that documentary came because the United States President invited Nigerian leader United States would do this to any country it respects. So let's look back into the future, but let's underline the back there. What is good about the back that we need to look into? I mean, in our nation.
Thank you. Good morning, listeners and viewers at home. Looking back into the future,
Yes.
looking at historical perspectives of who we were, who we are, and who we are supposed to be in future. You saw the way your Prime Minister was received. What was received is not the person, but the potential of Nigeria. As at that time, globally everybody knows Nigeria has a very great potential. What do you want to look at? The human beings, highly intelligent, resourceful people. We were a colony amalgamated by 1914. By 1925-30, agitation started that you can't keep us down. We can't be a colony forever. And it was proven that we are able to govern ourselves. Awolowo became leader of government business 1951 or so. Is it 51 or 52? He became premier 1954. Anytime a Yoruba man is talking today, the only pride they have is what happened during that era. And I've always been telling you guys, when your past is better than your today, when your yesterday is better than your today, your future is endangered.
Really?
You have no future. What they were welcoming there was not an individual, but looking forward in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, they're supposed to be a giant. And when you refuse to live up to your expectation, you lose your respect. And that's exactly what is happening. That's what has happened. Come on, who wants to associate with a failure? When you have a child in school, and the child is doing well,
You're proud.
you're proud.
Yes.
There are some people that cannot discuss their children today because the children became failures. But even before I ask a question, if I ask you, what of that your small boy? Oh, he's a medical doctor in London. You are proud to say this is what he has become. Who can be proud of what Nigeria has become? A country where, whether square or round, eating square meal. I didn't say 3 square meal. I said eating square, even one, whether it's round or square. It's a prayer point. Now, such a country with such huge potential. It's a shame. If we are supposed to be in a class, 1960, where was Malaysia? Where was Singapore? 1960.
Even China, where was China?
Where was China? Where was United Arab Emirates? If we are supposed to be in the same class, where are you today? It's a shame. It's a shame for you as an individual that you are in that type of a ship and it's sinking, and all you are doing just crying. Can't you use your brain?
Okay, Mr. Bogoloko, watching that video, how did you feel?
I feel somehow proud and then deflated. Proud that this was once the position of Nigeria, and now what do we have? I feel like somebody who's been elevated and then just dropped down. One can see that the world was hopeful and encouraged that Nigeria is going to be the giant of Africa, although we still call ourselves that, which is a fallacy if we still think that way. The kind of leader that was received in such a manner in recent times was Nelson Mandela. And you see, Nigeria fought for the freedom of South Africa, and South Africa is now taking the shine of our so-called leadership. One can see that those leaders then, they were very hopeful, but it seems they overrated themselves. When you put somebody on a pedestal and you start thinking he has arrived and there is no way he's not going to take the leadership that is being offered, that was, that should have been the beginning of the end for Nigeria. You know, Nigeria was on a tripod then. The East, the West, the North. The North was in favor of what do you call it? Confederation. While the West was for federalism and the East was for unitary system. Because Azikiwe saw himself in the mode of
Kwame
Nkrumah, Africanism. He saw Nigeria as just a part of a country that he is supposed to lead in future. That is, they want a united Africa, just like the United States. So such leaders like Nkrumah, and you know, he was in Ghana for some time.
Yes.
So that thinking was in him. And Awolowo was a federalist. He is the one that saw the danger in not taking the ethnic minorities, ethnic groups into consideration. So from that moment where the leaders of Nigeria saw themselves as having arrived on the global stage without adequate preparation. Because if you want to lead, it has to be based on substance. Do they have that kind of structure then that can lead, that can take Nigeria? Because by that time, Nigeria wasn't a country as such. We were just coupled together with different notions. So maybe as we go into the program, we will analyze what caused most of the problem. But what I can see is that we were placed on a pedestal that we could not match with the planning and the marshalling of resources to, you know, develop the nation into the kind of structure or the kind of country that the world was expecting. They were not able to do that. The leadership were not. They were not coherent. Each of them had their own agenda. So Tafawa Balewa was the golden voice of Africa. The man, under any circumstances, was a man without any qualms. He was a free man with free mind, but he wasn't one of the tripod. He wasn't. Ahmadu Bello was the one holding north. Awolowo was holding west. Zik was holding east. But he was Tafawa Balewa was a statesman. If we could see his activities there, so such a situation was not adequately marshaled to bring a nation forward.
All right, Vicky, when you look at proponents of regionalism, federalism, many of them will talk of, oh, let's go back to the 1963 Constitution, as it were. This visit should be between 1960 and
1961.
1961, before the Republican Constitution. I'm sure Independence Constitution was in vogue here. What is so good about Nigeria at this time, looking into the future now, that the present day leader needs to learn from? I mean, what template was at play at that time, that the present leaders need to learn from? Oh, this template was in vogue, let's go back to it and all that. You want to make certain recommendations moving forward into the future now.
Okay. When Mark Badeno was talking, he said, Tomode ba shubu, awowaju, tagba ba shubu, awenyo. When a young child falls, he looks forward. When an elder falls, he looks back to reflect. How did I get here? How did this happen to me? Can we try to see if you can learn from people that have similar experiences like us? Between 1930, when the hot debate for independence started, and 1960, when we got that independence, there are other countries of the world, let me be very specific, India,
Okay.
that were in similar situation, agitating for independence. Immediately independence came, India put together a commission for reorganization, they call it. Why? Because India was essentially divided into ethnic groupings, into religious dichotomy. So they find it difficult. Indira Gandhi, I think, had to institute State Reorganization Commission, which gave the regions freedom that they needed. And I'm talking of 1948 or so. Can't we learn from there? Now, you look at what now happened in Nigeria. Between 1950 and 1960, right? Nigeria was operating distinct regions. But these guys came 1966, and instead of ensuring that we continue in that mode,
Strengthening it, perhaps.
strengthening the autonomy, they came and now impose unitary system on us. So what I know ate in the morning as breakfast is what I must eat, because we must have unity. I don't know where unity translates to uniformity. I don't know. Can we look back and see how we got here? China that you are looking at is not essentially a monolithic country. Canada is battling between two major ethnic groups.
French and the English.
Canada is moving forward because each of these people have their freedom. Belgium has about three or four major ethnic groups. They are making progress. Malaysia is essentially India, Malay, and China, Chinese people. How are they making progress? What lesson can we learn from them? Singapore today is a leading light. Singapore is Chinese, Little India again, and Malay. Switzerland, my own culture, I don't eat pounded yam, I eat eko. You know the meaning of eko? Agidi. Oh, somebody's already smiling. I eat eko with olele. If I want to force you to eat eko, there will be trouble. What we are saying is this: we started differently. Let us grow in our path. Don't force me into doing what you love.
All of these countries you have mentioned, are they operating the same templates in terms of governance?
That's what we are saying. What is the meaning of India? I've told you, different religion, different this thing, but each one going his way. Is Switzerland, as I speak, they rotate their presidency annually. They have what I want to call cooperative system of governance. Each region, they call it canton. Each region have the same number of people at the center. So there is no acrimony. Do your education whichever way you want it. And at the center, they regulate. And that's all. But here, Abuja must be the one in charge of my education, must be in charge of my tax, must be in charge of whatever.
Okay.
We are killing potentials. You will soon get to a stage where Burundi, Ghana, Ivory Coast, we send their PAMSEC to come and welcome your head of state.
Okay, Mr. Boku. Looking at that thing again, that video clip, chance, they had a dream. Those who inherited the dream, what did they do with it before the carpetbaggers came?
Well, you see, I want to hold to my first opinion that those who inherited the power, maybe with the exception of someone like Obafemi Awolowo, the rest they were so presumptuous in certain areas. You can see that even some part of Nigeria up to today were not so eloquent about what happened in those periods. They thought Nigeria was there was no unity, and they feel the best way for unity is for everybody to come together and somebody will stay at the top to enforce the unity. First of all, we've always been shouting unity in diversity. Let everybody grow in their own capacity with the way they want to go. The India that Dikin here was mentioning, at a point some part of the union had to leave. Pakistani.
Yes.
Pakistan had to leave because they were strictly they want Islamic something,
yeah.
and they were allowed to go. So why should you hold somebody down by force? Why would you say they stay together in their own diversity? If all the examples that Dikin was given, it is because they realized that they were not exactly one nation, different nations forming a bigger nation. You have to negotiate. You have to agree to live together. We were not able to do that at our independence. The only time they had something that is akin to that was the 1950 Ibadan conference that led to what's this?
Regionalism. MacPherson Constitution.
Constitution. So since then, we've not been discussing our differences. There are some people that are still wary of such. That what do you want to discuss? We are one. Nigeria is united. So I can say, looking at that video clip again, I said I felt proud, and at the same time disappointed at what you have become now. So you see, from that stage, you can see Nigeria will have gone to places if we had managed our affairs well.
These countries that Dickens listed, they are all doing well. That's the truth.
Yeah.
They have their challenges, but these countries are doing well. Could Nigeria be afraid of something for it not to want to embrace all of it?
Nigeria is not afraid of
It's not
anything.
Nigeria, please.
Okay.
There are people that are holding power now. They are the ones that are afraid. And
What could they be afraid of?
And you want to ask them, even if you conquer some people, in modern age, you cannot conquer people forever. And I'm not sure if Yoruba land was conquered by anybody or the Igbo people were conquered. Why should some people say their way or no way? I was reading somewhere that somebody said some people had already committed a treasonable act by instituting another kind of governance that is different from secular Nigeria that is in the constitution. And we know that the part of the country that adopted such a thing. And some other people are not talking. You still want to insist that we should not discuss. You see, the Oyibo man, they don't want to believe that you are superior to them. And they don't normally, unless you make yourself inferior, they don't normally want to say they are superior unless by our actions they look down on us in Africa as unserious people. How will you say you are superior to some people? How will you say some people you cannot sit on the same table with some set of people, human beings like yourself? These are the kind of thinking that was around then, but it wasn't popularized, it wasn't blown into the open. But from now, from recent events in Nigeria, we've seen that some people want to believe that they are born to rule, they are superior to some other. Those such things cannot work, especially in modern age, where people are educated. You know, the intellects of anybody is not related to skin or background. So these are the kind of things that is happening over there. They realize their differences and they want to take advantage and use it to their own advantage. But here we don't want to agree that
we're different. Dickie, I'm still wondering because
I'm not. You can't even compare India with Nigeria. How did they get to the level where they become giants? South Korea came out from their war and decided the only thing they will do is to develop their human resources. Okay? They build institutions rather than building individuals. They don't have strong individuals. Right? And you know what that came up with? At a time, they now specialize in electronics. Anybody that is using LG, or maybe you've had LG, or you've had Samsung and all those things, you are improving the economy of South Korea. Not necessarily because of anything, but they have leaders that believe that human development is the real development. And I dare say that was how Awolowo started. Free education, everybody must be educated. In fact, it's not only a sin, it's against the law.
Not to send your child to school.
Not to send your child to school. How do you live together with people that will give bowls to children at age 4?
To go out begging?
To go out begging. This is somebody who at age 4 is already sewing school uniform. And as at that time, There's nothing like school run. At that age 5, age 6, you will trek perhaps miles
To get to school.
to get to school. So you are already told to labor to get education. No, this thing is different. And the most unfortunate thing is this. People listening to me, most of them don't really understand that there is nothing wrong with Nigeria.
So what's the problem?
The problem is each ethnic group need to assert their freedom. When India was to liberate itself, I've just told you now, 1948, when they got independence, the first thing they did was State Reorganization Commission. And their region was based on ethnic and religion. You are Yoruba, go and rule your life. Yeah, there is a central government that will tell you that this is the minimum standard, but not this maximum. For instance, it's not possible for you to be in Switzerland. Their central government will not allow you not to send your child to school.
But there is this mutual suspicion in Nigeria. When you preach, you know, this type of ethnic empowerment, there are some ethnic groups that are so suspicious that this is aimed at...
Why should you be suspicious that I'm sending my child to school? What's your suspicion? I say I want to send my child to school. What's your business? Send your child to go and learn carpentry. How does that affect me? Why should you be suspicious about my life?
To the Northern Democrats.
I'm not talking about...
The Northern Democrats.
Who are they?
Issued a statement
That...
just, I think last week, about the tax reform. They say, don't talk about all of this again. It's going to favor the South. What do you want the North? The 10%, 30% derivation that...
I'm not sure if you are ready for me giving... I'm not sure if you are ready. I hope you know you are touching a place that I can spend the next 2 hours discussing. There is... What they are debating, there are 4 bills sent by Tinubu. How did this thing start? Gowon started sales tax. When Gowon started sales tax, it was the states that was administering it. It was Babangida that came and introduced VAT, and now said federal inland revenue should be collecting it, not not the state again. What are we really talking about? What's the meaning of VAT? Why do you need VAT in a federal something?
The issue of derivation speaks to, you know, ethnic empowerment as it were. As we speak,
I know.
I don't want to call
I know. I want to see if I can do 2 minutes to give you a lecture about derivation. How did derivation come?
Agitation.
When? Now, 1941. 1941. No, that's 46. Okay. That's what brought... I'm trying to trace. 1941, there was agitation that we want our freedom. Right? And it was centralized. Everything was centralized. Everybody was just doing whatever he wants to do that time. Britain was now ready to give self-government.
Yes.
The North said they are not ready. That the money they have cannot take care of their affairs.
Administration.
And Oyinbo's 1946 set up Philipson Commission. Philipson Commission said work and eat. 80% derivation. That was the beginning of derivation. If you derive anything, just take 20% to the center. Instantly they kicked and threw it back to him that he should go and rework it.
To Philipson.
To Philipson. They now put Unfortunately, I think Cliff was his name. So they call it Cliff Phillipson now. To go and rework it. Unfortunately, Cliff died. So they have to submit Phillipson report all over again. And that was how self-government came. And Awolowo was having 80%
of the revenue
Of what was
the region.
of what he was generating. All this cocoa thing that you are talking about, all the groundnut you are talking about, that was how he started. Palm oil in the east,
Cotton and
cotton and groundnut in the north, cocoa in the west.
rubber.
That's all.
So
And they developed all this. By 1958, it became clear Britain was running into trouble everywhere, that they must give these people independence. Meanwhile, West and East have gotten their self-government in 1954. So now, 1958, when it became clear that Britain must go, all right, North now needed self-government to be able to rule themselves, and that's how.
at that time,
but
as
they
the,
didn't have the money.
revenue improved,
They didn't
No,
have money.
I'm coming. That's how another commission, I remember the name, came 1958, and it was
Is it racing or something?
Racing. Thank you. Racing Commission came 1958, and they now said they should take 30% out of the 80 given to the region, to the center, so that they will divide it according to their need, according to population, and whatever.
which is what we are dealing with now.
Which is now what we are dealing with. Essentially, how will it be done? The North is saying they have more need, so it's according to need. Now,
It is not different from
not
what is
different.
going on now.
Now,
The
and that's
North
what
is speaking against 30% derivation. They don't. The North is saying no to this derivation of
So all
the
they want is
thing.
50%, 50-50.
and that's why I'm tracing. That's why I'm tracing this thing back for you. That this thing started 1943 or so, before Phillipson now put 80% to the center and to the region. My dear brother, when you refuse to train yourself, okay, so I have school cert, and I joined this organization 20 years ago, and you are just coming with your masters, and they are paying me 10 naira, they are paying you 30 naira, and I say I'm older than you. What is VAT?
Okay.
Is production tax
Is that one of the steps
that
being taken towards restructuring?
what step? There's no step.
But
What-
If you want to restructure, tell the world you are restructuring. Why are you hiding yourself?
Even then, is it that
We are taking,
he's afraid
we're
of
taking a
what?
step, and people are shouting. So
But Mr. Boguloko, the issue is, amidst this,
There is no basis
it's
for this.
1940 the agitation is still on.
Forget about derivation. Let everybody work and eat.
Will this not now make regionalism impossible? We thought it appears.
Because you are not ready.
Wait, the way I see this thing is this. I would like to align with your thinking that President Tinubu has taken a step now,
That's what some persons are
and
saying.
people are shouting.
They
What
don't.
of if he has wholeheartedly said, let us go back to regionalism and all
The people of Nigeria should come out now and say they don't want that VAT.
It's like-
VAT was taken by Babangida.
Like saying that Akese Kombodo.
something is carrying it away.
So if we put the whole body-
This seems to be the cross of this
Cross of
regionalism.
this
It has been the crux of everything bringing us down. It has been the reason. Do you realize? Okay, I saw you were trying to debate when the first premier visited US. You are debating his attire.
Yes.
Do you know the meaning of that attire? What did you call it?
So,
The idea here is this. Even that time, we relate better. We have some common things. And since 1940, whatever, you are not able to develop your human resources to be able to think on their own. And the governor is coming out to say without that thing being changed, they won't pay salary, they won't be able to develop. What were you doing since all this time? I mean, Awolowo took whatever risk he need to take to train Southwest people. Up to today, Awolowo is long gone. I do not imagine a Yoruba man having a child and refusing to train that child. I don't think so. In the minimum, you go to secondary school. We are not ready.
Some really thinking the North sees these tax reform bills as the height of this clamor for regionalism. With that, this 30% derivation, the North believes, no, this is regionalism. They want it expunged. If
no, Tinubu, okay, federal government is proposing derivation 60%. The governors came together to say no, 30%. And how do they want to share the rest? Population.
on equality, 20
And 20 on population.
based on population.
What's the population? How do you get at your population?
There was census in 2006.
Must we follow whatever they think suit them? They manipulate the population census to give an imaginary figure, and they want us to now rely on that.
No, even Deacon, let's look at it this way. Even the population that you are talking about, the population is down south. If you watch
Is that what's on figure? Is that what's on?
Unless when there is time for census, they will go back to.
They will record it for them.
Come back here,
But that
and
is what they use.
The resources here is being overused, and you say your
The
population.
last
is over
population
here.
says the North is more populous
Abi?
than the South.
So they must take the highest share of what they do not produce.
Okay. It's a heated debate, as it were. We are looking to the past, looking back into the future. And one of the issues that have arisen is this issue of revenue. All over the years, it's been the North versus the South. They've wanted to dictate that this is what it must be. This is how we want it to go. How can we now move from that and go into the future without rancor and at which every other person will be happy? That is the subject of discourse this morning, looking back into the future. How can we have a glorious future? The kind of future we had when Balewa paid a visit to the United States in July 1961. How can Bola Tinubu, before it will be 730 days, that is 2 years since it came into the presidency, became the president of this country. What steps has it taken to ensure that this country moves forward or to have a restructured country? Where are we heading for? Towards regionalism? Towards unitary system of government? 0916 104 7698, 0902 2809 or 0907 072 7980.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is from Ibadan.
Welcome, madam.
Well done. God will bless you. God will continue to replenish your friends. We are in a monarch system, not central system, and not unitary system. As one man has rightly said, we are in a monarch system. Until we can change that system, we are not going anywhere. You know, we have two important things in this other part of the country. The education and agriculture. What is the essence of our education and agriculture now? It has been personalized because of their own interest. Their major, their focus is to destroy this country. They cannot cooperate in bringing this country to the apple of destiny. Anything we want to do, they will always go against it. It's anything that favors them that they will do. We should sit tight. This type of restructuring that are present, President Tinubu is doing, they are not one. Maybe it's afraid of them. But that's what they face. Don't let us postpone this evil change. máa ṣe pé ọmọ máa fi ọdún yìí ọdún ni. Sọ́dọ̀ lè sọ fún ilé ayé pé ilé ayé máa máa bàjẹ́ sí nínú ẹ̀ lò. We should stop all this thing and face the reality.
All right.
Let's not take the book by the front. Let's not be serious.
All right.
And see that you cannot take this thing for the generation just of God. What I'm about is what you are repeating now. And what the issues that you are talking now is what we'll be talking after that.
Okay. Thank you,
The
madam.
population, the poverty in the country.
All right.
This is not the type of restructuring we want.
Okay, thank you so much, madam, for your time. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you.
I'm only from Michigan.
All right, Wale from Edition, you're welcome. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm calling from, my name is Samson Oluwole.
From where?
I'm calling from Kaduna.
Okay, Samson from Kaduna, welcome.
What you are really doing is really, very good. Not to waste our time. The best is to go to regional system. That's the only solution.
All right, thank you so much, Samson from Kaduna, for your time on the program. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Oluwole.
Welcome.
I'm calling from Yana Church this morning.
Welcome.
I want to appreciate everyone who lived here. God bless you, Jesus' name. Prince Mabaderon, every time you are presenting program, you always tell us not to think much about the problem of this country. With all what you have been listening to this morning, that was being that was being inherited from the national problem. What we not think about the problem of this country? Taking says something that if God was not taking, the time is coming that Burundi, Ghana, and I will call the Senate that be a permanent secretary to come and welcome our president. And that time will not come. But it's not a matter of prayer. For how long will it take President Tinubu to restore this country? Let's back to internal government.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much, Oluwole. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
You are on. Good morning.
Yes, please, I'm calling from Calabar. My name is Elisha, calling from Calabar.
All right, Elisha from Calabar, welcome.
Yes, sir. So my contribution towards what you said this morning into the program. Can you hear me, sir?
No, Elisha,
Continue.
Go ahead.
Yes, so the problem is that our Nigeria, our leaders, they agree too much, sir. That's the problem we have in Nigeria. They agree. The reason why I say they agree is that everybody wants to back money to his pocket. That's the problem we have. They don't want to check masses, whether are they eating or not. That's the problem we have.
Okay.
Look at the border. Why did you block the border? Why a lot of masses are eating from it? Because it's coming from outside for us. Why are you blocking the war border? Paying high charges. Look at something like China. It was very affordable break, but today how much? Belgium break, how much it was before? Today how much is it? Reason why they block border. You travel over there, you want it very cheap. But down here it's expensive, very cost, sir. That's the problem we have. Our leaders.
Okay.
It's our problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Elisha from Calabar. Greet, you said. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Ade from Akpata.
Ade from Akpata, welcome.
Our problem in this country is tribalism. If we can eradicate tribalism, well, we can move forward. Then the second one, we should go back to regionalism. That is the real federal system of government. The one we are practicing before the army takeover of 1966. With those two things, I think we can get it back again. Thank you.
Mr. Ade from Akpata, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you.
This Prince Bomiade calling from Akpata. I greet you again.
Welcome.
Thank you for engaging the general public about the truth
of Nigeria, because we can now see where we are coming from and what led us to where we are today. Because the amalgamation of it and the so love, we said we love ourselves, so love of them. We know it's based on something. It's based on interest. Not we don't really mean it rather. So let us go back to the drawing board, like the way your analyst has said earlier. We should go back to the drawing board and adjust, because we can't continue living in the old days. It has expired. We need to sit tight and look for a way to better Nigeria rather than free politics about everything. It is time for us to make sure that all lines must be on there for the betterment of this country. Good morning.
All right, thank you so much, Prince, for your time on the program. You can join the conversation. All right, we're looking back into the future. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Thank you.
I'm calling from my.
All right, welcome.
I so much appreciate your analysis and this program. At least it has enlightened Nigerians on which way to go, because the like the Bible says, the labor of the foolish wearieth every one of them, because he doesn't know how to enter the city. So what we need to do now is to amend or to create another system of government in Nigeria that will favor each region without any wrinkle that you are favoring the south, you are favoring the north. And how do we go about that, Mr. Anu? And I would like our analyst to answer this question. Is it possible for a president to just wake up one morning and say, you region that has been agitating to go on your own, I give you that freedom, without looking into the law and constitution of the land? Number two question. What makes it impossible for us to have a reasonable referendum that is been long overdue in Nigeria, so that you are agitating for this and that, we can talk things out. We go to the drawing board, like one of our colleagues said, let's go to the drawing board and fix things. Don't let us just be waiting on president to do this, to do that. We need to go to that drawing board. I want our analyst to please answer those two questions. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Fetuga, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I am Primate Sheikh. Interestingly, I am calling from Ijebu this morning.
Welcome.
I want to disagree with Babama Padero and all my senior brothers there this morning. The problem is not with any region anymore. The problem is with all of us. All of us have that problem. The problem is simple. Okay, if some of us take believe that it will be not, it will be not. What is stop the South from gaining its own something? Since all this while, from 1914 till now. In fact, to tell the truth to our children, we deserve it. There was a time in history when the seat of power in this Nigeria is our own. The man that is supposed to sit on that seat ran away for 48 hours. And he was a military man. He disgraced the Yoruba nation. He ran away. In the southwest, the southeast, they have been given trials. Right from Ram to Wazurike and Akaburu. They have been given trials. They want to complete, they want to go. Even till now, they can't. Those ones are even trying. What of us in the southwest, we have not made any effort. And yet, they keep saying the people are they giant. So the fact this morning is that we all share the blame. So for us now to solve it, in the job you gave us to go down, when we meet our people again, the issue now is not the restructuring. If we're traveling for restructuring, who will do it? Nobody tries to be a liar. So now we must have someone to discuss. What is that going on? We must sit together first. We must sit as one brother, one nation.
All right. Primate.
That line is breaking, Primate.
Primate, can you hear us?
That line is breaking. That line is breaking.
Good morning, Primate. All right, unfortunately, the network wouldn't allow us hear the last part of your submission. Hello, good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Chusangat calling from Mali.
Welcome.
You see, no president in this Nigeria will agree on this solution when you people say restructuring or regional government. No president.
Why?
Because they are power, and because of their own interest, not the interest of Nigeria. Unless 2027 election, let all the civil society, all the good people of Nigeria say no to that 2027 election unless they restructure this country. But when the election is conducted, no president will agree on this thing when we are talking because they are going there to lead themselves and their political party. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. County from Monia. Okay, let's check who is here. Oh, we missed the call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome.
I want to sincerely thank you for the job well done.
Thank you. Could you please turn down the volume of that radio?
Okay. In as much as hello.
You are on. We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. In as much as I agree that there is need to run to restructure this country, then the question I want to pose is that what actually led to the collapse of the parliamentary system in the 40s?
Okay. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes.
There is background noise. Move away from your radio. You put it off.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Is that what I'm speaking?
Mr. Ulabi, welcome.
Is that can we trace what actually led to the collapse of the parliamentary system that we practiced before? And are we ready? Are we mature with the present situation we have to go back to the parliamentary system? Let me give you a typical example now. This is Oyo State. Since Oyo State was created, and the new Oyo State, they have never allowed other regions to become governor, except allow Akala, which was accidental. This is another problem. So we have to talk to our mind. Our mindset is very, very important. Even if we come back, even with the structure, are we ready to change our mindset for good? Thank you, God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Ulabi. I think the TRG is even talking about regionalism. Hello, good morning.
Just a minute, sir.
Oh, okay, quickly.
Sometimes, Mr. Adoluwako, you said something on your program that the Igbos have been marginalized. To add this to Mr. Feduka's questions, what stops Nigeria? I don't know, please, I want to know, educate me. What stops Nigeria to allow the RPB to go? Good morning.
All right, thank you, Olusegun. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Mr. No, good morning.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Abel.
Mr. Abel, welcome.
Okay. You see, we are there when we are talking of the U.S. when the president was saying Americans first. American first. Here in Nigeria, please. When are we going to have that person who is saying Nigerian first? If you say you're going to have a Nigerian first, person who speaks that language, you can't still see in the north. Can we control the migrant that is in the north? Are we going to do that Nigerian first? Our soldiers will go to war against those who are destroying this country. And we see among the soldiers again, we be against to link those who are killers, to link to kill our soldiers. And they also, among of the soldiers that went to fight the war, they have gone to the death and going to say, this is one Nigeria. And this is one, the president said, we will Nigeria first in our lives. So I don't see that happening until when we have somebody like that Trump, who will stand on his feet, who who will say, this is what I stand for. Before we can eradicate all these things and make this Nigeria great. Are you hearing me?
Clearly, Mr. Abel.
Before we can make Nigeria great and say, stand like someone who will say, this is what we want. Well, we are not going to find that best maybe not in the north.
Okay.
All right.
Not in the west, but the person who will carry his Bible, say God, and who goes to church say God, not even traditionalist. Baba now cannot solve it. I'm not even talking of Quran, but person who carry Bible say God, enough is enough. Who will stand like a strong that cannot find it. We are mentioned now, but the president is here in Nigeria. The religion is here in Nigeria, and that person will solve this problem.
All right.
One man the water. When God minds, anger arose, it will happen.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Abel. I think we need to begin to wrap up the program. Some questions have been asked. Mr. Fetuga asked a question. Now,
what went wrong with the
parliamentary system? That was Mr. Olabi. Mr. Fetuga asked, who will effect all of this? He believes that the National Assembly, and I'm going to start this way, Mr. Bubuluko, and that's the crossroad that some Nigerians are. Some persons are ready to embrace regionalism. They believe federalism is the best way. But now, amidst this quagmire, how will Nigeria, bail itself out? That's what it is, because it appears there is a system of government which is not working to people outside the government, but to those in government, maybe it's working. So how can Nigerians have their way?
What is happening is that some of these people do not understand how parliamentary system works. I want to tell you categorically that Awolowo couldn't have been the premier if it were a presidential system of government that they operated during that time. Awolowo was elected as a member of parliament from Ikene. Some other people were elected from Shaki, Gumosho, and everywhere, and they met in the house. And the leadership quality of Awolowo, being a strong member of their party, was detected.
And he overshadowed every other person.
And he was elected as the premier by votes from that parliament. So, saying that Ibadan people were dominating and not, if Ibadan had maybe 2/3 of the members of parliament, it could be possible. But since it may not be possible for a section to dominate, you have to negotiate. Even in Israel and some other countries that they are operating parliamentary system, you go into coalition. If an election is conducted and your party is not able to have the majority, before you can form government, you have to negotiate with some other people. So in such a system, there is no way somebody can become a KBAC, because the premier will be first among equals, and the ministers will be chosen from members of parliament. So it's not a question of I have a cousin in America and they have a friend somewhere and you bring them as ministers or commissioners. This system, it is because people do not understand it that they think maybe the presidential system is superior. No, most of the government in the world today are using parliamentary system because that's the one that get to the grassroots. You come from your area on Monday, you bring whatever problem you have in your grassroots to the parliament. People from your area will be listening whether you presented their case. When you come back on Friday, they will ask you, Oga, why didn't you tell them what you... So, but our legislators here, if you are elected, you stay in Ibadan, which is the headquarters of your state, till you finish or something. You stay in Abuja for 4 years until you come for re-election. That settles the...
Okay, Dikin, I think I remember it was Bitcoin that said he wept on the day that Singapore was pronounced as a nation. Am I right?
Yes, he says so.
That he wept because he didn't know how and where would they start. But look at Singapore today. Where did we miss it?
When we start thinking that I must cut my cloth the same size with yours, there's no way I'll be properly dressed. You are taller than me, so your cloth cannot be my size. Ladies and gentlemen, I still want to talk about India shortly. In population, India is 1.4 or so billion. Nigeria is 200 plus, let's say 250. Do you compare that? I say 1.4 billion. The size of Nigeria compared to that of India, India is like Africa in size. They have 22 major ethnic nationalities. They have over 2,000 ethnic groups, languages spoken. They are divided between 3 or 4 religions. How do they do it? Can we please emulate those that are ahead of us? Is that okay? Singapore was a country with nothing, no natural resource of whatever kind. Are we together? Can you compare yourself with them today? The only thing is this: let even your own children at a particular time, we choose what to eat. Let every region choose what they want to do. The period you are saying is past is good, they were good because each region. I normally tell people, I attended primary 7. I don't think any of you here did, because I schooled in the north. And as at that time, each region determined what class you end your primary school. What is wrong with that? There was modern school in Southwest. I don't think any other region had modern school. Meaning we were able to fashion our education whichever way. There are technical schools. Trade centers. Everywhere. Let's go back to where we started from.
So let's look back.
Let's look back and see what was good and bring it forward to the future. You have no future with this type of system. I'm not placing a curse on anybody. Tinubu will come and go. Another person will come. Whatever he thinks is gain will be reversed. Thank you.
Well, I think it's the best place to leave it. And we thank God. 1.5 hours gone like that. Next week, Tuesday, presents another opportunity. But of course, so many things have been said. But I add on to, let's go back to where we were. And of course, I got, impressed with the fact that other countries that have embraced this system are today doing well. But time will tell.
Thank you so much, Anu. Yesterday is gone. We are in it today. What's the hope for the future? Where do we see Nigeria being in the foreseeable future? How can we ensure that we take solid steps that will take us in that glorious future? Because we began by saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. How shall we take that step? Will Mr. President Bola Tinubu take that meaningful step to take us into that glorious future, to send us into the era of restructuring Nigeria? That is the question on Insight this morning. We want to thank Dikin Owolabi Oladejo for coming.
Thank you.
Mr. Laulu Aboguloko, thank you for coming. And Anu, thank you so much. And to our backroom staff, our producers, the production crew, Tunji Adeyefa, Tope Olalude, Godwin, Victor, Chef Godowo Kere, Oseni Sulaiman, Shola Fadri, and all the ladies in the house. We thank you. Next week, God willing, we'll be back with another edition of Insight. I'm Adefemi Makwadero, wishing you a pleasant day. And as we go, please remember that you can join the Rebirth group. The information will be scrolled on the screen for you now on how to join the Rebirth group. Adefemi Makwadero, signing out. Good morning.
Are you tired of the inefficiencies and struggles holding Nigeria back? Do you envision a nation where every region thrives, empowered to achieve its full potential? The time for a transformative rebirth is now. Introducing the Rebirth Group, an arm, New Nation Enlightenment Foundation, the voice for a united Nigeria with autonomous and diverse people. We stand for a restructured nation rooted in equity, accountability, and shared prosperity. A Nigeria where the rights of indigenous people are respected. A Nigeria where the principal law, legitimacy, and the moral right to govern is through express consent of the people. A Nigeria where regions govern themselves, manage their resources, yet collaborate to build a stronger federation. Imagine a Nigeria with functional schools, efficient healthcare, professional public service, quality and properly maintained infrastructure, thriving economies, and accountable leadership, all driven by empowered regional governments serving the people. At the Rebirth Group, our mission is clear: to enlighten, engage, and empower Nigerians to embrace the benefits of restructuring, inclusivity, and autonomous regional governance. Together, we can build a nation that works for everyone. Join us in shaping a secure, peaceful, and prosperous Nigeria. Your voice, insight, and expertise are essential to this historic journey. Visit us at www.therebirthgroup.org.ng or follow us on social media at The Rebirth Group. Together, we can make a difference. The Rebirth Group, building a new and united Nigeria is possible. This is to announce admission is now open at the Impact